All right. Hello and welcome to this webinar on how to do coaching and scheduling from your WordPress website. I've got Nathan Tyler here from Simply Schedule Appointments. It's a WordPress-based system for doing scheduling from your site. Scheduling is something that's really important to some course creators who are looking to have not just a passive course, but have either active coaching or consulting components or support, whatever you want to call it, in addition to like the course content itself. It could be just part of the course, could be part of the membership, could be an upsell for a more expensive option. I'm really excited to get into that with Nathan today. But first, Nathan, thanks for coming to the webinar with us today and doing this masterclass.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's really fun.
For those of you watching, it was just last Friday, I believe, we did a podcast with Nathan that a while back that we just released. We'll put a link to that in the chat. But Nathan and I have known each other for about 3 years, something like that. We originally met down in Cabo at an event, and he has known Thomas, my business partner at LifterLMS, for a while. So it's a small world. But the genesis of this masterclass series is I knew when I first met Nathan that he was a talented developer. He was a brilliant product creator. And most importantly, he had an ability to, get inside the mind of what people are trying to do with software and create solutions around that, which is always, and an ability to, talk about it and, really show a lot of passion about what he's up to. So I was really excited to connect with him on the podcast. And then in doing that, I realized that several of his main products are 100% in alignment with what we're trying to do over here in the course building and the membership site space. So I wanted to get Nathan on the show so we could talk about, in this masterclass series, specifically scheduling, coaching, consulting, and support for our students, our learners, our members. And then a solution he's got that rolled out recently and is continuing to roll out around doing that from a WordPress site, whether that's in your lesson or in a private post. If you're using our private areas add-on, there's just so many neat things you can do with scheduling. But first, Nathan, I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll start here by sharing my screen and walk through some of the information, but thanks everybody for coming, and really excited to kind of show this and then really get your feedback and questions specifically from course creators and anybody who's doing coaching now. We're a small team building this product, and I think Chris does a really good job of engaging with the Lifter community and collecting feedback and engaging with you. And I'm probably not going to be as good and engaged as Chris is because he's on there 24/7. It's a pretty amazing amount of stuff that you guys put out, but would really welcome any kind of feedback and questions. I think Chris is going to save the questions for the end, but happy to stay on here and answer any, or if you reach out to me afterwards, I'd love to talk. So
Awesome.
I think, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to mention before we get into it, for those of you on this call, we'll put a link in the chat. It's actually at lifterlms.com/appointments. And what we have there are a couple of bonuses that are available if you pick up Simply Schedule Appointments for your project. And we're also going to be doing, at the very end of this masterclass, we're going to be doing a giveaway of a $99 add-on of your choice of LifterLMS. If you prefer to apply that to something more expensive or one of our bundles, you can do that. If you're an existing customer and you would like to have your license extended by that value, and you win, you can do that as well. But for everybody who wants, there's going to be 2 bonuses if you end up investing in affiliate partner with Nathan. But of course, we only partner with people that we trust and projects that we believe in. So bonus number one is, this is a limited time bonus. Nathan's very generous here in offering a 72-hour bonus. So that's really generous of him, because we know some of you, except for I forget your name, who's in Bali at 2 a.m. Many people are sleeping or busy right now and are going to be watching the replay. But from 72 hours from this webinar, anybody who invests in Simply Schedule appointments will get their license extended through January of 2020. So that's quite a long extension, which is a great value. And Nathan's also going to bump you up to the next level. So there's 3 levels. There's Plus, Pro, and Business. So if you invest in Plus, not only will you get that extension of your first year all the way out into January of 2020, but you will also get a upgrade to a higher level. Bonus number 2 is you'll also get a call with Nathan, which of course you're going to use this scheduling software to schedule that call. But he's going to take a look at how you set up the software, help make sure you customize it, understand it, and get the most out of the features and flexibility. And also, he's listening. As a product creator, I find this very valuable, someone who's willing to listen. If you have a feature request, he'll consider it. But it's always admirable to see people that product creators who are really in the trenches listening to people using the software and what they're trying to do. So it's just an opportunity to have a direct line to Nathan's ear, in addition to that great 15-minute onboarding and consulting call, which is fantastic. So again, that's LifterLMS.com/appointments. We'll put a link to that in the chat. And do Q&A. So there's a Q&A feature here in Zoom. That's where we like to go to first when it's time for questions. Please try to use that. There's also a feature in Zoom where you can raise your hand. So if you want to go live and just have more of a live conversation, we can do that as well. And you can always play stuff in the chat too, but that tends to get a little bit more lost. It's better to use the Q&A feature. But feel free, if you're just in there and chat, we'll get to that, and Kathy will help wrangle that. If you're watching this through the Facebook Live on the Facebook group, we'll put a link over in Facebook on how to get over here into this webinar. If you want to be eligible for the LifterLMS giveaway and in the randomly selected drawing, we're going to need to see you as an attendee live over here in the webinar in Zoom for that giveaway. But if you are watching in Facebook, and you're just interested in the 2 bonuses I just mentioned for Simply Schedule appointments, you're fine to do that. We'll also keep an eye on the Facebook comments if there's any questions over there. So back over to you, Nathan. Let's talk about some scheduling.
All right. So obviously, this is a group of course creators and personal coaches, and I want to first talk about, why, selling coaching on your site is valuable. I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here, so I probably don't need to go too deep into that. But from my perspective as a buyer, as a learner, there's always technical things I'm trying to learn, or even last year I was looking for some help with some Facebook advertising and how to go about that, from scratch, and, get my feet wet and get into that. And so I was, as a learner, going to a number of these sites and trying to figure out who could help me, how I could. I'm fairly savvy, so I wanted a course that I could get a bunch of information, but I also wanted some personal attention if it came to that. And so I think offering coaching on your site really helps build your personal brand. And to me as a buyer, it lended more authority to the course itself, I can see this person is available, and, for one-on-one consulting. So if I outgrow the course, or if I go through and I have specific questions, I know that they're available, which makes the course, just more appealing, because, I know that when I reach that limit that I have, somebody that I can reach out to. So, just as a buyer from that perspective, it's really valuable.
At LifterLMS, I just want to echo that. If those of you watching behind me on the wall, it may be too small to see, but I often talk about the stack. You have the online course plus coaching plus community. And that coaching piece is really what's missing for some people in terms of not getting results or the low completion rates.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a differentiator for me. Like when I was looking for this course, it's like there's a million like ebooks and, 2-page PDFs and cheat sheets and stuff out there, which is part of the equation, right? I want that, but I also wanted to be able to get to the coaching, and the one I ended up selecting did have a community as well, where people could kind of explain what they were going through with the advertising, their campaigns and whatnot. So yeah, I thought I wasn't thinking about the community, but I guess maybe I chose all three as well.
It's awesome.
So anyway, with this personal coach that I was looking at, they had Calendly, which is a pretty popular hosted solution, but you can kind of see it doesn't really fit the site, and it's got this like little scroll bar, and it's not quite the right width. And I'd also gone through this extensive questionnaire and signed up on their site, and then it still didn't know who I was. Like I still had to enter my name and email address. The rest of the site was like really professional and clean. And then when I got to this point, it was kind of clunky, and I had to, even like figure out how to scroll down and find this because it was in this embedded iframe in the page. And I still, obviously went forward with it. It's not like it stopped me, but it was kind of like this kind of glaring hole in what was otherwise like a really professional and polished site. So, in terms of the actual booking and the software, it's a pretty good fit, but part of why we built Simply Schedule Appointments is to try to bring, that elegant booking process and all the logistic, stuff that you need in the back end to make it work, to bring that into WordPress, but have it be like part of your site. Before we built Simply Schedule Appointments, we also looked into the existing WordPress solutions to see what was there. And, they're just really clunky. It was kind of the opposite direction. It's like, well, it's integrated in my WordPress site, and I don't have this weird like embedded issue, but the booking forms weren't as pretty. And then on the admin side, for me to it took me forever just to figure out how to set this up. And it's kind of a one-size-fits-all solution. They had most of these existing WordPress plugins, maybe they have support for multiple staff and multiple locations. And we encountered a few where even if it's just me, wanting to sell my consulting time one-on-one, I have to set up a location, which I only have one of. I have to set up a staff member, which is just me. And we had to go through a lot of hoops that really felt clunky and unnecessary. So that's kind of what brought us to, maybe we should try to build something better, which is Simply Schedule Appointments. And we're, all the data and stuff is hosted there in your WordPress site, and it's well integrated with the rest of your WordPress site, so it's easy to integrate with all your other favorite things, Lifter, WooCommerce, Google Analytics. Part of when you embed a third-party script, or if you bounce them off to a third party, you have no kind of insight into what's happening in that form. So for any of you who are more data-driven or really get into your analytics, because you'd actually be hosting a booking form right on your site, there's opportunity to kind of track, your conversion rates for your personal, coaching, and see the results of that. And we have some nice integration with Beaver Builder, so that it's easy to just drag in a form if anybody is using that as well.
I just want to add there, one of the things we talk about a lot over in this community is the all-in-one solution is good. Try to use as few products made by as few different companies as possible. But there's still also a case for best in breed from something else. And when something crosses over, to me, this is really innovative because you're crossing over from this hosted SaaS, bringing it into WordPress, and not just having something that's inside WordPress just to be inside WordPress, like the one you showed earlier with the frowny face. which is actually doing even better than what people are doing now, where it already knows who they are. They don't have to enter their name again. You know, that it's a better user experience. It's not that it's just in WordPress. Like, it's already fully integrated into the WordPress site, which is super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of opportunity there. Like what you're saying, like we're kind of building the product to do all the basic things that you need, you know, collect additional questions from your users when they sign up, you know, collect payments, those kind of things. Those are things that we're building into the core product, but at the same time, we want to leverage the best in breed products that are on the WordPress platform. You know, if we were to rebuild every e-commerce feature that you could think of into simply schedule appointments, it would take forever, never be as good. But, you know, by leveraging into the WordPress ecosystem, we can say, hey, if you just want to collect, you know, $200 for this, you know, consulting call, we can help you do that, and it's super easy. But if you're really sophisticated and you have WooCommerce installed and you want to have credits that you buy ahead of time, you know, for these consulting calls, or if you want to have all these different discount rules and you need to be able to generate an invoice with, you know, the value-added tax line or something for some European customers, like we don't need to reinvent the wheel in those areas. We can integrate with you know, leading products, you know, like WooCommerce, and then, you know, the simple use case we can handle for people. So it's kind of an all-in-one easy solution. But for anybody who wants to do incredibly complex things, we can tap into an amazing ecosystem, you know, with WooCommerce or Lifter or any of these other third-party tools. You know, people are using Beaver Builder to build their site out. You know, they're familiar with that workflow, and it's easy to just drag in a booking form. So it's actually, it has been kind of an interesting project for us, just to kind of like take a kind of SaaS, you know, like a monthly service hosted outside and try to bring that in, which I'm sure you guys experience as well. It's similar to what you guys have done.
Absolutely.
So yeah, basically this is the kind of booking interface that we load into the site. So you can see that it's, you know, clean and professional and something that's familiar, it's time zone aware. So, you know, you can, it automatically detects your users or your visitors' time zone based on their browser, but they can change it as well. So they can book in their local time, or if they're traveling and they want to see it in their home time for some reason. It's a very simple interface, and they put in their information, they book the appointment, and then they get a option to download a Google Calendar event. They'll get an email confirmation as well with the same, but they can just download the ICS file, which works with anything, or they can add it to their Google Calendar. So I wanted to show here how, like, actually everybody says it's simple to set up, you know, their product, but particularly in the WordPress space, sometimes you can install things and it's just like nothing happened and it's not clear where you're supposed to go, and like getting to that very first you know, successful use case is kind of difficult. So I wanted to kind of show the process that we put a lot of effort into is the initial setup process. So once you install the plugin and activate it, we have like a setup wizard that kind of walks you through the basic process. It asks for your license key, which will get you automatic updates and make sure that you're always running the latest version as we release it. And then it just asks for some basic information, like who we should send you know, the confirmation emails to, what day of the week you want your week to start on, your current time zone. So it pulls these things from WordPress as defaults. And so, but some people don't actually change their time zone and don't go in and change these things within WordPress because it doesn't actually come into play very often. So you get a chance here to override them. But we do pull the defaults if you do have them set already. Yeah, you can go ahead and change them pretty easily. So the next thing is Google Calendar, which this is probably like the biggest pain point in the setup because Google and their API, if you want to integrate with your Google Calendar, which means we can add appointments directly to your Google Calendar, and most importantly, if you already have something booked, we exclude it from your calendar so nobody can book double book you when you're already busy. We have like detailed out all these steps. It'll probably take you, 5 minutes, and by the end you won't remember what you've done, and it's kind of complicated navigating this Google dashboard, but we've tried to include each of the steps, and then once you're done, you'll never have to think about this or do this again. I'm going to skip it for this part of the demo, but so now we're at setting up your very first appointment type, which lets you, like, we'll just start with like doing an intro call, like a 30-minute call that you might put on your contact page or maybe within your course. But basically we have a really simple way to block out your time and schedule it. So instead of some of the other plugins that we found that have like 50 drop downs in order to set up your week, you can set your availability, in seconds, like we've just seen here. And you can adjust if you want your availability to be super granular at 10 or 15 minutes. Most people just leave it at 30-minute options, but you can set your default hours. And then we jump into the buffering, which is, you don't want to book things too close together. So you get an opportunity here to say, if somebody books an appointment, I don't want them running, one ends and then the next minute there's another call. So you can set buffers before and after. Generally, I like to just leave some time ahead of time to prep, make sure I don't have anything booked. And I'll leave more time after the fact in case it goes over. A lot of times when you're selling these personal coaching, and it might be at a very high dollar price, and people are sensitive. Like it's great if you're selling in a 1 hour call and you can give them an hour and 10 minutes, for free. Then they don't feel like you're squeezing out of that the time, and that becomes really appreciated. So I always kind of leave a little bit more room for my calls to run over. You also get some other options, like you want to be notified at least 1 day in advance before they book a coaching call. You don't want people booking for 2 hours from now, but you could also put that further out. And you also get the opportunity to limit the number that you get per day. Like if you're just going to, even if time and scheduling allowed, you might have only so much mental capacity for these calls. You may not want to do 8 of them in 1 day.
I don't think I've seen that feature in Calendly.
Yeah, it's not.
Because I've been using Calendly, and I'd be curious to hear in the chat, for those of you out there using a tool, what are you using? Calendly, Acuity? I'm just curious. But that, like, the moment you said that, this is what I'm talking about, like where you have your finger on the pulse of what people are looking for. I know what it's like to not have buffering and go through an entire day of like 15-minute calls, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's times where you got to do that, but like being able to limit that, like those rules of buffering and then the max number per day, that's super cool. Totally see that. Everything I'm seeing here, it's like, these are all lessons I learned the hard way. I wish I wish this existed when I first started getting into scheduling.
Yeah. And it's even more useful, like if you have something that's a longer, an in-depth training, maybe like a 2-hour call. It's like, I really only want to do 1 of those a day. Like I never want to do 2 of them. And it's going to take a lot of time to prepare, before and, afterwards. I probably have a bunch of notes and things that I need to take care of as a result. So yeah, this was like something that we ran into that I just kind of wanted to add and have there.
Yeah. And I just want to add, like, you could also use this for consulting and coaching for alongside your courses and whatnot, but you could also use it for like sales calls about your platform, or, especially if it's a higher dollar value. Sometimes people want to get on the phone and talk to you before they make the investment or make sure it's a good fit for them. So it's not just for I mean, you could use it for sales in addition to as part of the offer itself. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, the real power is having all these different, like I personally have like a couple dozen of these different appointment types with different rules, right? For like different types of people that are on specific pages. For you, it would be certain students or students that have completed this course, or someone who's in my top package, I'll let them get access to me tomorrow. But, if it's somebody who's in the most entry level package, they have to book, 2 weeks out, or, you can set all these different rules and criteria that really help you kind of automate. I think that personally, that was like some of my resistance originally to using some of the scheduling software. Was like, well, I want some people, to get access to me almost immediately, or internally for my team, I want them to be able to get access almost immediately. But then, being able to set up these rules means that I can actually never think about this again, and then it will actually be taken care of, and it will protect me from myself from saying, oh yeah, I could do 5 of those in one day, and then that day arrives, versus this, which will just cap it out after 3.
I've been in online business for about 10 years. And back when I first started, I used to just do all this manually scheduling across time zones. And by default, my brain wasn't naturally like a good time zone guy. I mean, I think I have the skill now where I can talk to somebody and like, I know you're in West Coast and what that means, but it's painful. And then you throw Arizona in the mix, and then you're doing business in Europe and Asia, and you're trying to like be considerate of, other people's time zone. And I mean, it's, you can waste so much mental energy where you just like figure out a few rules here and you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah. Just continue on. Basically, you can choose the customer information that you want to collect when they're booking. So, here just asking phone number, you can mark them as required or optional, but generally you're just going to be collecting a phone number and maybe a notes field where they can put more information in. And our plus and above, our plus version, will be having a full thing where you can build custom fields. Like if you want to add additional fields to that and collect extra information and questions and ask for their Skype ID or something specific. We're building that into the platform. And again, like I was saying earlier with the best in breed, we're going to be integrating with Gravity Forms. So if you want to do some crazy thing with 15 different custom logic fields and all this extra information you want to collect and conditionally based on their other answers, you'll be able to use that. I'm sure a lot of your customers use Gravity Forms already, so you'd be able to use all that without having to build all that into our core product. And here you just get a chance to choose where you want your notifications to go. So send you an email, send the customer an email, confirmation of each booking. And then here you get to review this is our first appointment type. So down here you see you got the short code, so it's easy to put in this short code anywhere in your site, just like you do with other plugins and embedding forms. And you can copy and put this into a course or right into a lesson or right on the confirmation page after they purchase your product. Say, hey, great, I'd like to meet you. We want to schedule a 15-minute call. There's lots of opportunities for you to put it in, and it works anywhere within WordPress.
That looks really good. It doesn't look like quote WordPressy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, we want to use the best parts of WordPress, but sometimes the admin UI for doing really complex things like this, there's just not a good way to do like building out your availability, and there's not an easy way to do it with drop-down menus and so forth. So try to keep the best parts of WordPress, but also improve, interface-wise as much as we can. So now that we've created our first appointment type, this is kind of what it looks like in the main screen. I was going to walk through just adding a few more appointment types, to do like a coaching call specifically, maybe make that a little bit longer. Just show off some of the other different features. Like you can have different colors, which is just for you internally. You can kind of quickly see what type an appointment is if you've got a dozen of these different ones and you want to kind of color code them. So at a glance, when you're looking at your list of appointments in the dashboard, you can see what kind of appointment it is.
There you go, solving another problem. I was on a call earlier this morning and I saw it on my calendar and I was like, oh, is that one of this type or one of that type? I didn't know. I had to search Help Scout, Gmail, and then Facebook messages before I figured out what type it was. So awesome.
So we set the coaching call. Then I think I was going to set up one more just so we could have a little variety. oh yeah, if you want to do like an in-depth training one, so here's one where saying it's like a 3-hour training session, heavy hands-on, and putting like a longer buffer, especially for making sure they book it out. Because if I'm going to do like a 3-hour session, I need a lot of warning. I can't do it tomorrow, even if my calendar says I can do it tomorrow. So, you can put it 7 days out, or even further if you want. And I only want one of those a day. So it's kind of the example we were talking about earlier. So at this point, like we've installed, each one. We've installed a plugin. We have 3 different appointment types, and you can see that was all done pretty quickly. And in addition, with a lot of kind of pausing and explanation as we were chatting. But we're already kind of up and running. We have 3 separate appointment types. This is what the Google Calendar integration looks like if you've enabled that, which I won't go through on this call because it's so tedious, but it's look at those screenshots that we outlined. But once you have Google Calendar enabled, basically this is like what it would look like on each appointment type. You get some extra things where you can say, I want to check these calendars for conflict. So anytime I have anything booked on my personal calendar, it's going to exclude that automatically from the booking forms. I use TripIt, which is a service that whenever I book my airline flight, I just forward the confirmation email to TripIt, and it like adds it to my calendar. It has a dedicated calendar, and so by doing this, I'm automatically unavailable anytime I'm in the air on an airplane.
I need to figure that one out. So TripIt, I haven't heard of that. I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's really cool. You basically just get your confirmation email from whatever airline that you book from, and you just forward to plans@tripit.com, and it like parses the email and like creates a trip or merges it with an existing trip if it figures out the date range, and then it just gives you a calendar you can subscribe to.
Wow.
So this is super, super useful because usually I'm not smart enough to like book it out on my personal calendar. In the past, I was definitely booked on a call when I was like on an airplane. I saw it when I was on an airplane. I was like, it's not a good situation. And then I live in LA and I like soccer, so I have Los Angeles Galaxy as a calendar, which I can also exclude. So I take no calls during any game time.
Nice.
So, and then you can choose which calendar you want us to automatically add the events to. So I just wanted to go through a few kind of other customizations. I think we haven't actually hit the screen yet, but this is the screen where you can see your list of appointments. Obviously, it'll be on your calendar. And generally, for me, I'm looking at my calendar on my phone or on my computer, so I don't spend a ton of time in here. But it also is nice to just come in here. You can see everything that you could see otherwise, and you can get a bunch of email notifications. You could see the status of your appointments if they've been canceled. You get an opportunity to cancel the appointment here directly if you want to. And these would be all in the different colors and everything that you chose.
So this page is generated from that other shortcode?
No, this is it. Sorry, we're back in the admin screen.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, just so you can see your list of appointments, your appointment types. And then this is the settings screen. So we have some, one of the things that we really wanted to do with Simply Scheduled Appointments was avoid like all the crazy clutter of the interface that like we showed in the original version. And to be fair to them, like it's been a product that's been around for years and they have a zillion features because they've been doing feature requests. So, it's not totally fair to compare like, a simpler, scope product against that because we aren't supporting, multiple locations and multiple staff members yet. That's a complex problem to solve. But the way we want to tackle that is by doing kind of the way that you guys do the add-on system, but ours are actually not going to be discrete add-ons. They're just going to be separate things you can come in here and turn on. But basically, if you have multiple staff and multiple location, you could come in here and turn it on. But if it's not, you shouldn't be seeing, your interface shouldn't be cluttered with multiple staff members and like drop downs everywhere for like which location this applies to.
Turn on what you need.
Yeah, so you just turn on the features you need. And this is the area that we're going to be building out in Google Calendar Sync is the first big one to hit, but we also have like blackout dates. So if you just want to say, if you don't have it marked out on your calendar for some reason on Google Calendar, but you wanted to just mark off certain dates that you just don't want to be booked for, do that.
There you go, solving another problem. Like if I have a conference or something, I have to go to Google Calendar and then I just put a giant stripe down the pages and gone. Yeah. And I would much rather do it right from my scheduling app, but I can't.
Yeah, because then you kind of get this numbness. That's happened to me too. Like I've done that, and then like I miss the things that are important because my calendar just looks crazy. Like I open it up and it's got these big blue boxes covering everything, and then these little ones that are actually important ones that I end up missing.
Yeah. Very cool.
So yeah, I think so I was going to show here how you could actually take like your coaching call appointment type that we created earlier and put it right into the course. So I'm just copying that short code and going to my dashboard, my normal WordPress dashboard, going to my Lifter test site and going in here to the first lesson and just offering to jump on a call with someone and say, let's start with a quick call. I'm just going to paste the short code in right here, so you can see how easy in WordPress native it is to set this stuff up.
Amazing.
So yeah, you got the booking form. It's easy, and it's all mobile and responsive. So if somebody loads it up on an iPhone, it changes to a nice layout there. Yeah, so I mean, you really can put it in there and it doesn't look forced. You don't see those weird like scroll bars or all the stuff that we saw before. It looks like it's really just part of your site. You can mix it in with all the rest of your lesson content or confirmation pages. You can put it anywhere like that.
For those of you out there, I know some of you are already doing coaching and doing this kind of live element, but if you're just doing courses and haven't considered coaching yet, look how easy this is and look how much more valuable this course became. Even if it's one thing for people that are scared of coaching, or not scared, but intimidated by the commitment, is coaching doesn't always have to be a forever thing. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm going to have to be with this person an hour every week or every month forever. It could just be like a 6-month or 6-week coaching package. It doesn't have to be forever. And think about how much more valuable that is. If somebody goes through your course, let's say it normally takes 30 days or 60 days, but it also includes like 3 or 6 or 2 calls, that, not every human being is exactly the same. So being able, and people will get stuck and have different roadblocks, that this, all you need digital appointment, and Zoom we're using right now for internet-based meetings, and you've got a coaching program. So I just want to throw that out there. It's amazing, and then the scheduling part doesn't have to be crazy complicated, and the whole world can be your prospective customer, and this tool will take all the time zone, pain and scheduling overhead just out of the equation.
And even if you don't feel like you're ready to go into like full dedicated coaching, you don't want to put a price on that yet. Like even just doing these initial calls, which I've done with other products. I don't have a course, but just saying like, we'll do like a quick call, which I'm offering to do with you guys as well. Obviously, it's super valuable just to learn like, where your customer's at, what they're actually trying to solve, like, because you spent all this time building this awesome course, and you're also like an expert in an area, but you kind of like, you may have forgotten what it was like a year or even a couple years before. You forget the questions that people are asking, or it's a really great way to just, it's great for their kind of interaction with you, but even just, it'll help make your course better if you can, I'm hearing like, I'm getting the same question on these, 10 of these intro calls of like, this is what I'm trying to solve. Like that can tell you maybe that's what should be in lesson 1 or right up front or on your sales page. It'll help you get more sales, just from getting to know what people are struggling with and what you really need to highlight in your sales and, you know, initially as they get onto your course.
Yeah, I call that a like a feedback loop. You got to open the loop, because otherwise you just get trapped in your own head and expertitis, or whatever you want to call it. Um, and one of the things out there, I'm not sure what year it was, maybe sometime in the 90s, Kevin Kelly, this guy, wrote an article called "1,000 True Fans," which is about, you know, making business work from your art. And basically his argument was that if you could get 1,000 people paying you $100 a year, you've just turned your art into a business. And the internet, and, you know, the scale of that, and the technology kind of opens that up. But the way I like to think about that comment with courses is, you could have $100 course and now you need to go find 1,000 true fans. But if you have a course plus coaching and it's a little more involved, it takes more of your time, but that's $1,000, you know, and it's more valuable because it includes your personal time and the personalization from those calls. Now, instead of 1,000 customers, you need to try to get 100 customers. And by the way, when you have that $1,000 price tag on, you know, a landing page for your course, if right before the checkout boxes, or the pricing tables as we call them in LifterLMS, if you have a little link for the area for people to schedule a 15-minute call to talk about that investment. I mean, people often, I would just highly recommend that. Sometimes we tend to automate things a little too much prematurely, but somebody may just have a simple question that you can resolve on 15 minutes, or they just want to check in and make sure, talking with you, that the chemistry is right, or that, you know, you're approachable and yes, this is real. And they just needed that little bit of encouragement, or had a few questions about the features of the course, or your program, or your method. Super powerful, but just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, totally. So I kind of want to describe it. So Simply Scheduled Appointments, we've been working on for over a year, and now this plus level is basically ready. So the Google Calendar integration that we talked about is done, and, you know, we're developing this ongoing. So headed towards these Pro and Business plans. The main difference is Pro will have built-in ability to take payments and send text reminders and emails, you know, reminding people of their appointment. You can set up a different kind of notification systems. And then the business is if you have multiple employees or staff, or, you know, locations. I don't think that will apply as much here, but yeah, there's also some other nice stuff which is much better detailed on the website. Or if you have questions, you can follow up after this. But, you know, Plus has basically everything that we've shown here today. And if you get Plus, then we will be upgrading you to Pro. And if you buy Pro, then we'll be upgrading you to Business. So, I mean, I think we're at a pretty good point to stop and take questions, or if you had any other questions you thought you wanted to cover, Chris, before we get there.
I think that's good. And just to reiterate, if you end up getting Simply Scheduled Appointments today, head on over to lifterlms.com/appointments. And Nathan's generously offering 2 bonuses there. One is that if you get it within 3 days or 72 hours from this live webinar, you get your license automatically extended to January of 2020. So it's quite a bit more time, and license level, which is super cool. We see that a lot in the software space, the you know, early adopter kind of discount bonuses, and I think that's really generous. Bonus number 2, LifterLMS customers who purchase Simply Scheduled Appointments will also get access for a 15-minute call to have a discussion about getting set up, making sure you set it up properly, customizing it to your business, and making sure you're getting the most out of the features. Also, he's all ears if anybody has requests for more features. Getting in and being a part of a product in the early days, I've noticed this with the LifterLMS community. Some of you have been with us for many, many years, and your voice does matter. And when you become part of the story early on, in just a little bit, we'll be announcing the LifterLMS $99 giveaway winner. So we'll do that, but let's start with Q&A. I can read them off for you, Nathan, and get them rolling.
Okay.
So the first, and by the way, in Zoom here, there is that raise your hand feature. So we'll go through these text-based questions here first in the Q&A and in the chat. If you think of a question while we're talking and you want to add to it, go ahead and feel free to add more to the Q&A. And also raise your hand. There's a feature down there at the bottom in Zoom where you can raise your hand if you prefer just to talk live for a little bit. So Dale asks, how's it going, Dale? How does it work with Elementor Page Builder?
So you can put that short code in anywhere. What we've built for Beaver Builder is like a Beaver Builder module that you can drag in and just easily select which appointment type. We could look at the Elementor API, and I've actually heard that twice already. So I guess that's gaining some traction. I'm sure, I can't imagine it's going to be that hard to build a custom Elementor block. So, we would be looking to add that, so you could just drag it in like any other element, select the appointment type, and it would just put the form in. So right this minute, if you download it in 5 minutes, I would say use the short code. But I imagine in the next release, in a week or two, we could probably have the Elementor block in there too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you can put short codes in lots of places. Like you were showing inside of a LifterLMS lesson, you could have like a private area post in LifterLMS. Yeah, really anywhere, a page that only members can get to. You're getting another question/feature request. Can you sync with a CRM as well?
Yes.
Like
so,
MailChimp.
yes, actually MailChimp is something that we've been working on, is almost done. So that's going to be
How will it work?
So basically, when you're setting up your appointment type, you can say like, add this customer to a MailChimp list. We want to put it out there. The basic thing is, right when I'm setting my coaching call appointment type, I can also choose add them to this MailChimp list, which then can trigger whatever autoresponders and other data that you want to trigger within the MailChimp interface. We want to pass some basic customer or custom fields along with that. So like if they're registered in WordPress, give them the first name, last name, email, obviously. But we're kind of going to see what other people are looking to do. I'd be curious what you're trying to accomplish with the, beyond just adding them to the list, if there's anything that you want to do. But actually the MailChimp integration is due out in about 4 weeks.
That's cool. At Lifter, we have like MailChimp and ConvertKit. And then also there was another developer, Jack Arturo from WP Fusion, who built some Lifter integration that then allows people to apply tags across like 12 different CRMs and add context over there. So that was also, I don't think Jack is on this call, but for us at Lifter, that was one of the ways that, people got into, because you'll get requests for, there's so many email marketing and CRM platforms out there that we've kind of got a balance of some of our own and some through WP Fusion.
Yeah, so kind of with the same thing, like with our trying to take our main integration, which is MailChimp, because that's like the heavyweight in the area, that's like kind of for the person who just wants to get started and do some basic stuff. But obviously, ActiveCampaign or other more sophisticated things are out there. We'll probably build a native integration for the next top one that we hear about. But what we're really probably going to do is build a Zapier integration. That's already on our roadmap, which, basically we can say somebody booked an appointment, push all that data to Zapier so that you can apply whatever tags or transformations or custom data to whatever CRM you want. But I know MailChimp is almost done, and I personally use ActiveCampaign for some stuff too, so that will probably make it on there. But balanced with other stuff.
That's cool. And just for those of you out there, Lifter LMS, like if you're selling, like if your course just includes coaching, and that's just part of the deal, you can always, you can be applying tags through Lifter, or if you're using WP Fusion or Memberium. There's all kinds of different ways to kind of sometimes to get that same result. And Lifter LMS also has a engagement type on which access plan purchased. So if you have let's say the $100 course, or like that's one access plan for just the course, and then you have the $1,000 access plan for the course plus the coaching, you can basically hook into that, which access plan did they buy through, and then in an automated way send them to to schedule their first coaching call or whatever. So there's different ways sometimes to get to what you're trying to do. Tom Gardner asks, he's using Time Trade. Will you add iCal? If so, can you pick up the travel time setting? So that's, iCal being a big one in addition to Google Calendar. I guess starting with iCal, what's your take on iCal?
Like the iCloud calendar syncing?
iCal, like instead of Google Calendar, if they're using iCal. The iCal sync.
So I think iCal is the Mac application for calendar, right? Or
correct.
Okay. So yeah. So with that, so I use that, but I actually hook it up to Google Calendar. But I think maybe they're talking about hooking it up to iCloud. Oh yeah, he says yes. So
okay.
Yeah. So that uses the CalDAV standard, which is like a little bit different, and then Apple actually does a few things outside of the standard to support that travel time. That's kind of like their own, I think, data layer on top of it. So I have it on our list to look into. And obviously I would like to support that as well. It probably is not on the list for the next couple of months, at least, because there's so much stuff with Google Calendar that we want to get out. And that's kind of the main one. I know if you do use iCal on your computer, you can hook it up to Google Calendar instead, but that might be a big switch that maybe you don't want to do right now. So yeah, it's on our list, and we've heard that a couple times. But it's probably if everything we're doing right now, it's probably not immediate that we're going to have that, honestly.
Dale was asking about, I think you showed this in one of your screens, the ability to cancel and rescheduling. Is that in there, or part of that in there?
Yeah, so you can, if I cancel it, it will send them an email and say, hey, it's been canceled. Click here to reschedule.
As you, the site owner, canceled it.
Yes, if you, the site owner, cancels it. If you're if you're a customer who's booked something in the calendar notes, there's a link to say cancel or cancel and reschedule, and then they can just go and book another time.
Awesome. There's a lot of podcasts. I use a calendar system for podcasts. People reschedule me all the time, and I really like how I don't have to do anything. I just notice oh, that meeting's gone, and there it popped up next week. Great. Zero time wasted on my part. I really love that.
Yeah, it is really nice that it kind of takes that out of the equation for you. It's it doesn't really matter to me. I can, prepare for that call 15 minutes ahead of time, whenever it's time.
Yeah. Dale asks if you can you schedule multiple sign-up calendars, example, one for sales and one for coaching. And I think that's what you were showing with your appointment types, right?
Yeah, so you can set up different appointment types, and then you can embed each appointment type by itself. They won't get a choice. If you put in the short code that says, SSA booking type equals coaching, they don't get a choice to choose the other ones. They would just see it was the only option. It would just show them dates and times available for coaching with all those special criteria. So yeah, I use that. I have a pre-sales one. I have a kind of intro call one. I have, somebody who's been a customer for a while, somebody who's paying for, ongoing consulting. Also every kind of arrangement that you could imagine. I've got a custom one, and then I just link them to a page and say hey, here's my schedule. And it doesn't appear to them that it's a customized, rule set, just for them. But you can.
That's one of the beauties of shortcodes and, having the parameter of the appointment type or whatever.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the problems, like with Calendly. Even if you can make like private events, I guess, but people can kind of like go back to your page and then see all your other different types, and I know you can like hide them, but I really like that someone doesn't get the feeling that I've like given them a custom one. It just looks like, hey, here's my schedule, here's a link, and then it kind of has all the rules and parameters in there, so I don't have to think about all the scheduling.
That's fantastic. The Lifter LMS audience is very international. Harry asks, any plan on different languages? He's in Germany. Or is it compatible with Loco Translate? So could you speak to just internationalization of people using the product in different languages?
Sure. Yeah. It's actually, technically it's been a little challenging because it's such a JavaScript heavy, you can see the interface is very, modern. And so doing that, the non-WordPress way has been a little more challenging, but we actually have built out a system so each of our strings is translatable the way that, I'm not familiar with Loco Translate, but I assume it's a WordPress internationalization package, and it's compatible with that. So the strings, we generate a big strings file, so any of the text strings that you see throughout the site goes through the WordPress translation layer. So yeah, it should be. We don't have any translators. If you know someone fluent in other languages that you would like to see it in your language, I'd love to hear from you, and welcome any help with that, or if you know somebody who's a translator. It's set up to do that. I just don't know enough languages for it to be in another language yet.
Cool. Jonathan asks, is there going to be a replay? Yes. If you make sure you register for the for this masterclass, there was a link to a Zoom registration page. Make sure you get on that. Also, this is being live streamed to the LifterLMS Facebook group, so you'll be able to see it over there as well too. Dale asks, can you attach your calendar to Zoom, Facebook Live, Be Live, or similar tools for video calls? And maybe before you answer that, Nathan, I'll just share something I do is I don't really attach my calendar scheduling to those tools, but I do give people through the emails that the tool sends the link to like the location is the Zoom link or whatever. So that's how I do it, but go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, that's how I've done it too, is, just customizing the confirmation emails to say like, hey, here's the link where we're going to sign up, where we're going to talk. And then that goes into the calendar, notes as well. So they have the information they need there.
Perfect. Tyler Woolard asks, he says, excellent presentation, by the way. So he is in the UK and he will have to worry about EU compliancy and VAT. Does the pro version deal with the VAT, or do I need to add another plugin for that? One way that I have traditionally dealt with VAT at LifterLMS is said our WooCommerce integration is probably the way to go because WooCommerce deals with VAT. But I don't know if you have another take on it or how you're planning on doing it.
I know sometimes like for the VAT, I've heard the simplest need for some sizes of business is that they need an invoice and it needs to have like the VAT on that invoice or something. I'm not sure. There's probably more compliancy that I'm not aware of, which is, again, kind of why we would go with the e-commerce setup. So my kind of gut reaction would be to say, like, we would use the WooCommerce integration, then you could set up invoices and whatever kind of VAT compliancy that you need. If I knew more specifically, if you want to follow up with me after the call, like specifically what it is that you need to be compliant, then I could tell you maybe there's a way that we could do it. It may be something really simple, like we just need something output in one place or something. But being a naive American, I don't know what that is.
Mark asks, what about self-hosted CRM like MailPoet? So I believe MailPoet is like a WordPress-based CRM. So you're already pretty close, but I mean, there's no direct integration yet for MailPoet, right?
No, there's no direct integration for that, but we do fire off WordPress, hooks and filters at different points throughout our process. So we actually do when somebody books an appointment, we do the WordPress PHP code, like do action, SSA, booking, et cetera. So if you had a WordPress developer available that could work on it, it shouldn't be that difficult. Basically, you're going to get a notification that when somebody books an appointment, WordPress will be notified that an appointment was just booked with details about that appointment, and any other plugin could do anything with that information. So it would probably be a pretty small piece of code that just says, listen for this event, and then add it to MailPoet when we hear that happen.
Eduardo is asking about ConvertKit. Another feature request there.
Like just pushing tags and email address and stuff over to ConvertKit.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably under a Zapier integration. I haven't actually. I mean, I'm aware of ConvertKit, but this is the first person who's asked about it specifically for this product. So it would probably be ActiveCampaign and then ConvertKit just in our kind of internal little roadmap. But I think the Zapier integration is going to help solve a lot of those things. I don't know how many of your customers are already using Zapier, or it's a pretty popular tool, but then it can be the kind of one size fits all, like you can connect to hundreds of different services that could all get notified upon a registration. And again, with ConvertKit, like if you already have a ConvertKit plugin, like you have the Lifter one, it might just be a small piece of glue code, which we could look, I would say to any kind of general person that we don't, like ConvertKit might not be within our scope, but if they're a Lifter customer who has the ConvertKit add-on already installed, kind of like the previous question, it may be just like 2 lines of PHP code that says, like, listen for this hook and then fire it off to the Lifter ConvertKit tool to do the rest of it, because then we won't have to write all that extra code.
Cool.
So, yeah, follow up with me on that, and I can look and see whether that's as easy as I hoped.
And then in the spirit of CRMs here, Mark Mays is just giving a thumbs up for Jack from WP Fusion to help you get into the 12 other CRMs.
Okay. So, maybe I should look at that.
I emailed Jack about ActiveCampaign integration for us several years ago, and like on a Friday, and then by Monday he had it built into his product, which is designed to connect WordPress stuff like Lifter, WooCommerce, and tools like that into to CRMs of an ever expanding list of CRMs. So,
if you just send me his email or something, I'll see.
Sure.
We can connect with him on.
Yeah. Kev asks, he uses TinyCal to show all his Google and iCal calendars. Will this work with that? So I imagine since iCal is built on top of Google Cal, I mean, it'll work with Google Cal.
Yeah. So, I mean, this will show up in the Google Calendar web interface if you just log into calendar.google.com. So we use the Google Calendar API to push everything back and forth. So anything that shows up in Google Calendar should show up in any third-party tool.
And a long time ago, I used to be a hardcore Mac fanboy, and I used the Safari browser and iCal and everything. Eventually, I ended up just switching everything to Google. Gmail for email, and Google Calendar, and what else? I don't know. I just found that just getting it all into Google has been simpler, and sometimes it seems like to me like the Google products are outpacing the Apple products, at least in the areas of like calendars and Gmail and stuff like that.
Yeah, I made the switch too. I used to be on iCloud a couple years ago, and then it's actually not that hard if you're using iCal on the Mac. Like you can just go in and like create a new Google Calendar, and you can just move all of the events over. It was not, you could just export them and import it into the new one, and then I was switched over in a couple minutes. But yeah, anything that's the Google Calendar, that's like one of the nice things is that it gets everywhere, right? Like sometimes I use the iCal app on my Mac. Sometimes I use on an Android phone, I'm using the Google Calendar app there. Sometimes I'm using the web-based one. It's all synchronized. Super nice.
Dale has a pricing question. He's asking if it's an annual price or how do you handle billing for each level?
Yeah, so it's like most WordPress products. You purchase it once and then you get free updates and support, new features and everything for the next year. And then after that, you can continue getting updates with renewals, which will offer like a discount on the renewal when it comes time for that. But you can also just say like, hey, it does everything I need it to do, and the code is running on your system. Your data is not bouncing through our servers to talk to Google Calendar or anything, so we don't turn that off. It's you could just opt for it to be a one-time purchase, and with this you'd be getting all the updates through January 2020 anyway. But when it reaches then you can choose to renew at a discounted rate or just keep what you have. It's one of the beauties of WordPress.
Cool. We've got some questions in the chat I'm going to do. And then again, if anybody wants to chat live, before we go live, I'm going to announce the winner of the LifterLMS product giveaway, the 99 way. But before I get to that, let's see. We've got a VAT question we already answered. Can a customer cancel a time frame? Sometimes I wonder if that question has to do with like time framing the cancellation ability. Like sometimes people say like cancel, you have to cancel at least 24 hours in advance, I think, something like that. Maybe that's a feature request, but.
Yeah, we haven't done that because I feel like that's more of a business thing to say like, hey, you can't get a refund or, if you're going to cancel 5 minutes.
Because you're canceling. You're not coming.
Yeah. Right? But from my perspective, it's like even if it's going to be upsetting or frustrating, like I'd rather know that they're not going to show up even 5 minutes before the event than to show up and wait for half an hour and think they might be coming. So we don't have that. Maybe there's more to the question and we could get into that. But for me, I think it's more of like a business policy of like, if you cancel 3 days ahead of time, then you can reschedule for free or, you can get a refund or whatever. But from the actual scheduling perspective, like if it's just 5 minutes before, I don't want to like prevent someone from telling me that they're not going to show up, in 5 minutes.
That makes sense. You're also just getting some more love for ActiveCampaign. People want to apply tags.
So they say, what kind of tags would you want applied?
So that's Robin Harris. Robin, let us know in the chat or the Q&A of what the circumstance of the tag that you want.
Yeah, because I'm sure we could apply them. It'd just be a question of like what appointment type they filled out or
behavior.
What other data or tags would you want?
This is somebody, Tammy, who has multiple clients and she's looking for an agency package. Do you have any pricing for more than just one-off licenses?
Yeah, so actually I think it's the Pro. Let me double check before I speak here. But yeah, we're built, lots of WordPress, agencies are building sites for lots of different clients. So our Pro package will cover 5 sites, and the business package is unlimited sites. So I think it's only the Plus, which you automatically get upgraded for anyway. So you get 5 sites covered, and if you buy the Pro package and we upgrade you to business, you get it for unlimited sites. So we're the pricing just seemed like way too complex if we did like per site and bulk rate discounts and 3 different tiers of features and stuff. So we just kind of, bundled it. If you get the business level, maybe you need the team and, resource management and multiple locations, or maybe you just want to have it on unlimited sites.
Cool. And then from the previous question, Robin's saying she's just looking for a behavior tag indicating the appointment was scheduled by the contact.
Oh, yeah. So we could fire that off.
Another vote for iCloud. Eric's asking about a special code for bonuses. He missed a lot of the presentation due to work. So cover the bonuses again, and then we're going to announce the giveaway winner. And then we'll raise your hand, click the raise your hand feature. I see some more features come in the Q&A, and we'll do some live questions and answer some more in the Q&A. But the bonuses are anybody who gets simply schedule appointments within 72 hours of this webinar is getting a massive extension on the quote first year of your license through, you're going to get it moved all the way out, the renewal to January 2020. And Nathan's going to bump you up to the next level of the license. So like we were just talking about, if you want the business level and you invest in Pro, you'll get the license extension and the upgrade. Bonus number 2, and this one is that if you invest in simply schedule appointments, Nathan's going to be available to jump on a call with you if you would like, and take a look at how you set up the tool, help you customize it to make sure you're making it work for your business and getting the most out of the features. Also, he's open to listening to what feature requests you have and what you'd like it to do if there's something in addition you'd like to see that happening. So go to lifterlms.com/appointments, and you can read about those bonuses and then click through from over there if you're interested in getting that and taking advantage of those bonuses. Also, we have drawn the winner, and it is Ellen Martin. Ellen, you are the winner of the LifterLMS $99 bonus. You can apply that towards something else. So congratulations, Ellen, on that. And Dale says that thank you for the great presentation. He lives and dies by online calendar tours. I do too. I literally outsourced my brain to the calendar. Ellen saying woohoo for her winnings. Congratulations, Ellen. Please email us at team@lifterlms.com and we'll get all that rolling for you. And let me just check the attendees here. If anybody's got their hand up, Mark would like to talk. So we're going to do some live questions, and then we're going to go back and close out the Q&A. Okay. How's it going, Mark?
Hey, pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Just a couple comments on tagging, how important it is.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, for example, let's say I sell a package of 6 coaching sessions. And what I'd love to have is my email system recognize when somebody has used 5 and send them an email saying, hey, you're almost out. Do you want to re-up? Conversely, I'd love to know when people keep blowing me off. So my email system can send them a little bit of a, finger wag. There's so much you can do knowing that somebody has scheduled, attended, canceled, or whatever those things are, that you don't even have to worry about. Just get those things tagged into something like Drip or ActiveCampaign, and let that relationship with your clients that you've programmed into those things do their magic.
Let me ask you a question, Mark, just to it's more of a nuanced technical question, but like simply schedule appointments and like LifterLMS, for example, can send emails based on various behaviors. At what point is it better, or when does it make more sense for the CRM to do it versus the tool itself?
Depending on what your business model is, that I think defines it. For example, if I'm selling coaching calls that aren't attached to courses, I don't want Lifter involved at all. Mm-hmm. And if I have that in part of my business plan, I don't want my clients seeing 2 kinds of interactions with me, whether you're signed up for a course or not. So then I would have the CRM do it. If everything is driven totally around courses, and you can keep everything looking unified to Lifter, use Lifter. The flexibility is what's important. And the consistency of how you look to your client base is extremely important.
Yeah, so I think there's a good opportunity to fire off those events. And that's not going to be hard to do technically, for us to open up to just say, like, fire off these events as these things happen. The one thing about attended, I think you said scheduled, attended, and canceled. So for attended, is that like, are you on a phone call or a screen share? And then what would be the easiest way for you to mark someone as attended? Would it be to log in to simply schedule appointments and then mark a specific appointment as attended? Or would we just maybe fire off a follow-up email to you with just a link that says yes or no so that you could mark them? What would be the best fit?
You tell me. I don't know how you're architected. You know, the fact that a dangling appointment is, like Simon and Garfunkel, a dangling conversation has not occurred. I don't know how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you deal with that, but that's something I would like to know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, I do know they showed up or they didn't show up. So there could be a way for me to quickly and easily, maybe it's something in the user interface, just check off that's happened.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not really tracking the attended thing right now, but actually, especially for tracking your no-show rate and pushing it off to external tools, you know, the value of pushing that tag,
I think it's a lot of value
there. So maybe we would put it, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but we would probably put it like in the calendar notes for you, for the seller of the appointment time. Your calendar event could have that in the notes that says, like, here's a link to say whether they attended or not, so that, you know, when you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs waiting for them, or after you have the event, you could go there and mark it. Maybe an email.
Somehow to close that loop would be really, really good.
Okay, and then which was the tool that you're using, the external tool?
Well, I'm the one who said work with Jack on WP Fusion. He's amazing, and we actually do a lot of client work. We don't like to lock people into a particular CRM. So Jack is perfect for us. Some people use Drip, some people use Active Campaign, some people use MailerLite. You don't have to care about any of that.
Jack doesn't do MailChimp, by the way.
Yeah, so. But well, he does real CRMs.
I hope nobody from MailChimp is on the call.
That's okay. It's my opinion. Chris doesn't share it.
All right. Well, I'm hearing I should talk to Jack, and I'm also hearing maybe I should look at the iCloud API docs and perhaps bump that up a little bit in the priority, or at least see what it's going to take, because I've heard that more today than previously.
Yeah, we can always add more features that you should do too.
Yep.
No, I was kidding. We will.
No shortage.
Yeah, and as a community, we are pretty aggressive on features and wanting to squeeze the most out of that code that we can.
Chris has a knowing smile.
Yeah. It will rise to the top. Cool. Well, thanks, Mark. I'm going to take another live question.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Harry's coming up. Harry had the questions about German. Welcome to the call, Harry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Yes, thanks. Hey, Nathan, I really like them because I have some scheduling to do and it's always outside. In case I buy it, which I'm pretty happy to do, and it doesn't work out with local translate, and I send you an email, you would reimburse me?
Yeah. I mean, we'd hopefully try to fix whatever the issue is. Or, I mean, if you want your money back for any reason, we'll just send it back to you.
All right. Thank you very much. That's it.
All right.
Thanks, Harry. All right. Oh, Siri just turned on for a second and started talking to me. So we have a few more questions. Before I switch, because I got my eyes on the chat over to some thank yous. Thank you everybody for attending. I appreciate it. Kev says he loves the quick blockout feature. He's using Acuity scheduling now. He also sells lesson packages. He has that situation where he wants no shows if they don't cancel within 48 hours to, be charged. So,
yeah, so that's something I guess we should look at as we're collecting the payment, adding an option for like issuing a refund or blocking it like within a certain amount of time. It sounds like it might accomplish that. Like still letting them cancel the appointment, but they just don't get money back maybe.
Just an idea out there, like one thing we have at Lifter on the registration is a custom terms and conditions checkbox that they have to check. So like you could have, as another way, like a refund policy page or terms page you could link to.
That'd be a good feature for us to have, yeah.
Dale said the email yes, no was good for him. It sounds like you were looking at more at like the meeting notes. Let's see. Cool. Somebody, I just see the first letters, Ari just purchased Pro from the bonuses link. Thank you.
Awesome.
We got a few more questions over here in the regular Q&A. And before I go to that, let me actually bring Robin up to share some questions. Harry, if you want to put your hand down. If you have another question, I'm happy to bring it back, but just in case. So let's see, where'd you go? Robin's your hand went away. Did your question go away? No, she's back. Hey, Robin.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I wanted to know, so I went ahead and signed up for the Pro or the whatever one that gets upgraded to the business, but at the time of renewal, then what will happen?
I maybe hadn't thought that far ahead, but I figure we'll probably just renew it at the Pro rate, and then you'd be on the business one still.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, and I just have a comment about the show, no show, to be able to track that. Are you planning on sending an email right before the appointment to me as the business?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking out loud and curious for opinions, but having it, I could see it being pretty helpful just to get an email and then you could just click the link. But
Yeah.
If you have like 20 appointments a day, like that might be an annoying amount of email. So maybe just having it in the calendar event notes that you could like click there. I don't know.
You still got to click 20 buttons.
Yeah, it's still the same.
It's easier since I'm just getting the email just to click it. I hate when I always have to go back into an application to take those,
right,
to do those follow-up activities, because then inevitably they don't get done.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. All right, we're going to jump back to the Q&A. Feel free to raise your hand if you haven't talked yet and would like to, and also keep adding to the Q&A. So Dale moved from Mac to Google and Google Docs, and he's happy. So that's great. That's not even a question, that's a comment. Thanks, Dale. I celebrate with you. Patricia says, thank you for presenting another opportunity for revenue generation that she had not considered. I am now trying to figure out how to integrate coaching into my model. I'm glad that you got that insight today. I'd encourage you to keep pursuing that and join us in the LifterLMS Facebook group if you're not there already. There's a lot of people doing courses plus coaching, sometimes plus community. It's all about the stack. Sometimes we get really focused on one thing, like just the coaching or just the course or just the membership, but there's kind of an infinite number of a stack you can create. Dale asks, not if you are driving across town for a in-person meeting, the cancellation policy. So I think he's saying,
yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it still makes sense. Oh, he's got his hand raised too, so maybe we could do
All
that.
right, we'll bring him up. We'll go straight to it. Allow the talk is. Okay, I need to promote him to a panelist.
There we go.
Dale, it says you're using an old version of Zoom. You might want to update, just FYI.
Oh, okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, so the reason I raised my hand was actually about the product, but let me just jump on that because you threw that out there. So I live in Fort Worth, but I do business sometimes in the DFW area, which is like one of the fourth largest metroplexes or, metro areas in the country. So driving over to Dallas sometimes can take an hour and 20 minutes, depending on where we're going from side to side. And if someone cancels 20 minutes before a meeting and I'm on the road, that's kind of a big problem. You know what I mean? So anyhow, that's kind of a whole nother thing, but that's the reason that I would want, like, give me 24 hours or 5 hours at least. If I'm just on my digital coaching or whatever, and they cancel 10 minutes before whatever, I can fill my time. But if I'm on the road, that's kind of a hassle. But anyhow.
Yeah, it's definitely like a hassle. I kind of feel like if something came up and they're not going to be there, you still want to know about it. But maybe there's a way, like, we could block out it and say, like, oh, you can't just cancel it anonymously, quietly here. You need to call this guy on his cell phone and tell him in person that you're not going to be there or something. But, if their kid just ended up in the ER or something, like, they're not going to.
I mean, there's good reasons sometimes for some of this stuff. Sometimes it's just, they totally flake out or whatever too. But
But maybe having an option that's saying you can't cancel, or within 24 hours, just show this message or something, and you could choose to address it however you want, saying, call me on my cell phone, or your credit card will be billed, please show up, or whatever. However you want to handle that. Maybe that would be a way to do it so that they couldn't just kind of sneakily, quietly hit cancel.
You bet. Okay, well, I had one question for you here too, and I don't know if it's, well, when I was looking at your packages, you have something that says book group events, and I posted a question and comment or whatever, but that's what I really wanted to ask about. What is group events? Is that like inviting multiple people to, like, because sometimes I have meetings where I have, a group coaching session and I want to get everyone to book on the same time. And there was a third-party app that I used to try to use, but I could never get it to work where everyone's schedule synced and, they had like options that they could pick. Is that what book group events is?
So it is for, like group coaching calls and stuff. Right now, like the version of it that we're working on doesn't align people's schedules. I think like that doodle.com or something. Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what people have used. This would be like, I'm offering a group training session or, group coaching session next Thursday at 2 p.m. Click here to reserve,
Okay. You're locking in the time and it revolves around whatever you lock in, as opposed to anyone can make a choice of the best time that works for the group.
Yeah. Or you can say like anybody can book any time up to 3 at a time or something. So it's more kind of predetermined. It's not like aligning people's schedules. I think for that, I've still been using, I think it's doodle.com.
It is Doodle.
Yeah. And it's okay. Yeah. I mean, we do have that on our grand vision, but it's probably a little ways out before 2020, but not next month or anything.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. So really that's just allowing multiple people to sign into your allotted time, right?
Yeah. And it's a lot of it's for like, cause we have like, yoga instructors or, if you're having like a physical, like, training session, like a gym session or something, just saying like, hey, here, book your time. And we can take up to 3 or 5 people at a time. You're still getting personal attention, but there may be other people in your session or something. That's the most common thing we see it for.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dale.
You bet.
All right. Let's see, no more hands up. I'm going to head back over to the Q&A here. Kev says that Acuity scheduling keeps a history and you can add notes for each appointment. You can access it through the client dashboard. He uses it all the time. There's a simple check box for no-shows and a box for cash payments. So I think he's just kind of sharing how he rolls with Acuity. Did you have any comments on that?
No, maybe I should just check that out. I don't think Calendly has it, or if they have it, I haven't seen it. That's what I used previously. And, but maybe I should sign up for an Acuity account, just see what that looks like. But it'd be nice. I'm sure we could build something similar like that.
Cool. And then Jonathan Farley asks, if I have several sites, do I need to have multiple accounts? So is Jonathan still on the call? Maybe you want to come live if you are free. Yeah, he's got his hand up. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, so what I was asking mainly is I have several sites that I do several different memberships sites on. So if I want to apply this on all of my sites and have many different calendars for many different trainers and stuff like that, do I have to buy multiple licenses for each company since I own them all?
No, so the business license has unlimited sites and the Pro has like 5, I think. But if you buy Pro and we upgrade you to business, you have it unlimited sites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That was mainly it. And then that was really it. You guys answered the other ones just previously. So I'll talk back down.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
All righty. I saw a few more in the comments, or in the chat, I should say. He's talking about he gets reminder emails. If he changes an appointment, if appointments get rescheduled, it sends out notices.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine yours does that.
Yeah, it'll be send the cancellation and then the new scheduling notice. Yeah.
And then he gets like it sounds like a digest email. Like, so when he hits Monday morning, he can just kind of get a snapshot of the week. That's an interesting feature request.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, just sending out like all your upcoming appointments for the week or something.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Robin's got more questions. I'm bringing her back.
Okay.
Will you have a feature? I know some calendars have where you book your appointment, but it's not really scheduled until I actually accept it and confirm it.
Yeah, we did have somebody just asked about that last week. It's not now, but we could add that. The reason you'd want that is just like
it's a nice feature because it sometimes your calendar truly isn't up to date or something just came up or something, so it allows to make sure a human being is still on the same page with we have this appointment scheduled.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we could add that.
And the other thing I wanted to ask, are there any implications for GDPR for keeping the history?
Yeah, we've been getting that. That's been a recent thing that's disrupted some of our development schedule.
It's such a pain in the butt.
I know. So from our end, we're not processing any of your data. We're not seeing your customers' appointments. We're not, so from that perspective, we're not involved. But for you who've installed the plugin, you are managing that customer data, and it is in your WordPress database when they sign up for an appointment. So we're adding a feature that lets you delete a user. Right now, I mean, you can just cancel an appointment in the interface, but their data is still in there, their email address and their notes from their appointment. So we will have a delete customer from Simply Schedule Appointments. Now that's complicated by the fact that we can't just like delete that WordPress user or something because they would be related to LifterLMS. So we don't create a WordPress user for them, but WordPress is tricky because there's data that might be shared with other plugins. So what we will be doing is be removing any history of appointments that they booked any of the custom fields that they figured that they entered. And then that's it. They would just be gone and out of your database.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robin. All right. A few more questions we've got here. Tammy asks if business are getting it soon. When do they get bumped up?
Well, it's a very special offer that has no automation, so I will be doing that this afternoon and tomorrow. Just bumping it. There's not actually going to be a huge difference right this moment because Plus is like the feature set that's out right now. So going from Pro to Business will be different in a few months, but it is not any different today. So,
and there's the giant extension of that, first
right.
year or whatever. So
right, yeah. Since it'll be going through 2020, like you will get all of those features, but I'm just going to be manually bumping them. So if you purchase it, it'll probably say Pro, and then by tomorrow it'll say Business.
Cool. And there's a contact form on Nathan's website if you have any questions on that. And then Kev also says, sorry, he didn't mean to mention Acuity in the group. I would argue that's completely fine. Like at LifterLMS, I talk about Teachable and Thinkific and all kinds of hosted solutions. Like we talked about in the beginning of this podcast, sometimes one of the beauties of simply scheduled appointments is, you're getting it inside WordPress for a cleaner experience. But did you have any comments on that, Nathan?
No, yeah, we didn't invent appointment scheduling, so I'm not worried about that. And I've used Calendly and I've seen Acuity with other people I've booked through. I probably should just sign up for it. I hadn't looked at their feature set, but there's lots of solutions, and those are the two most popular, I think, and that's what we're trying to bring into WordPress, and then give you all these extra benefits like hooking up to that WP Fusion or Lifter or WooCommerce directly. You get all the benefits of the WordPress ecosystem. So no, I think for me it's just more opportunities to learn what other people are doing well.
We've got a couple more questions from Jonathan in the Q&A. He's wondering if you have a lifetime license available.
So I think we don't have one technically right now, but we have been trying to figure out what that will cost. But the biggest thing right now is that we don't have the business license stuff out yet. But I imagine we will have, if you just email me after, we'll have a lifetime option for each of those tiers.
Cool. And he also was just curious if you've looked into HIPAA compliance.
So it's actually, we've gotten that question, and HIPAA is for doing health forms and medical processing and stuff, and doing any of that has a lot more to do with your server situation rather than the actual software. So there's nothing about our software that would be non-compliant. We're not storing it in some insecure way, but our plugin can't guarantee HIPAA compliance because, we don't know whether you're running it on your WordPress site with HTTPS or not, and if you're dealing with all the other levels of complexity. So I think even some of the major hosted form systems aren't HIPAA compliant, like Wufoo Forms and stuff. It's a pretty high bar. So if you really, really need that, we're you probably have to make sure that your server was locked down enough that it was compliant. But there's nothing about ours that's, insecure or wouldn't be compliant as long as it was on the right server environment.
That is awesome. Well, Kathy, if you could let me know on Slack if you've got any questions from the Facebook post. And while you're checking over there, I just wanted to highlight one more time the bonuses and then talk about what's coming. First, in terms of what's coming, Nathan is a very talented developer and entrepreneur. It's one of the reasons I wanted to bring him over with you guys. He has some other projects going on. We're doing a 3-day masterclass series. Tomorrow's masterclass is going to be about how to future-proof your website and automate updates and avoid having your site crash, and then creating a much better system. Just like we were talking about the difference between self-hosted and hosted. When you own your platform, and you're in an open source ecosystem, you do need to deal with just gonna mute you for a second, Nathan. Oh, there you go. You just had some heavy typing. Staging pilot is, it helps with future-proofing the updates and testing to make sure everything's working just fine. So look forward to that presentation tomorrow. And then the next day, Nathan has a tool that allows you to create interactive content so for you instructional designers out there looking to make more interactive lessons. I can't wait to show you what that's all about with Nathan. But in terms of today, for simply scheduled appointments, if you get it within the next 72 hours, he's going to extend your license through January 2020 and upgrade you to the next level. And like he mentioned, he'll reach out to you and pass that over your way, the upgrade, and update that in the system. Also, if you purchase, you'll get a 15-minute call with Nathan, and he's going to look at how you set it up and also help you customize it to your business and answer questions and have a direct line to him for feature requests and stuff like that. So, Nathan, you're back.
Yeah.
You're there. I made you the co-host again. Mark Mays has another question. I'm going to bring him up. Maybe turn your camera back on.
I think.
Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, yeah, it just dawned on me. All the emails come from your WordPress site, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it sends through the WP Mail function. So if you're using, one of the plugins that overrides that, Postmark or SendGrid or something like that, it'll send through that. But it sends through the same way WooCommerce sends an email.
Okay, so SMTP at a minimum probably for most hosts.
Yeah. I mean, email deliverability is, an issue globally for WordPress that you want to take care of with SMTP or one of those sending services.
Right. I just wanted to kind of put an exclamation point on that.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Cool. Well, I'm just putting a link in the chat to, oops, I get that one. There's the link to the page that has the bonuses listed on it. Also, you'll want to keep this link if you want to, if you're watching this, if you came late, this is the same page that's going to have the replay video on it later. So check that out. And I hope you come back tomorrow and the next day for our next masterclass series. I really appreciate everybody coming and spending your time with us today and digging into coaching and scheduling. And Nathan, thank you for coming and presenting to the LifterLMS community. We really appreciate it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks. It was really good. You got a great community.
Thanks. They are awesome. So for those of you listening, if you do need to grab any links out of the side of the chat, go ahead and do that. I'll give you a few more moments to grab that. But thank you, everybody, for coming. And if you register for this webinar, you'll get a replay. And check out that lifterlms.com/appointments for the mention of the bonuses. And the replay video will be there as well. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. And thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.